Today on the DML News Podcast, the first stage of peace in the Middle East has been accomplished. Deal signed and the hostages ready to go home to Israel. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about day 9 of the shutdown driven by Schumer and the Democrats. We're going to talk about ICE and Trump derangement syndrome coming to a conclusion. Strap in there. We are all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Good morning. I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. If you're on Facebook, I'm going to ask you to do me a big favor. Make sure you hit that share button. If you share, you care. The algorithm likes to see you share. It likes to see you give a hello, some kind of message, and a like. And those are the things you could do if you want to make sure that we are going to have a good audience today. If you're on Rumble or where else are we on today? Live? Rumble? On Rumble, we say hello to you as well. And of course, my favorites in the whole world, Team DML. Good morning to you. Real quick, I'll make this 60 seconds or less before we get into a very exciting program with a lot of breaking news that's happening as we go here. The DML CBD BOGO, the buy one, get one free. Yesterday, we ran out of soft gels. This is what happens. We do these BOGOs quarterly. And that seems to be the way that the business is gone now, where everybody waits every quarter and just does, when we do these drops, the most popular stuff gets wiped out quick. Soft gels were first to go. There is a limited amount left of almost everything. DMLCBD.com/BOGO, BOGO, buy one, get one free. And if you haven't started with me yet, I got to tell you something. We've gotten a lot of messages from people since I've been back, and people saying they've just been buying the stuff and how incredible it's working for them. How they've tried other CBD products and none of them have been as effective as ours. And that's because we put an incredible amount of love into it. We get it done at the best labs. Everything is tested really twice, first on the ingredient level and then on the mixture level. I use it. My family uses it. All my friends use it. We've been using it for years. If you are having trouble sleeping, if you are having aches and pains, if you have anxiety, if you have a low immune system and you're looking to boost it up, skin issues, my goodness, I could go on for hours on that. Give yourself a shot. Go in there now. You get a buy one, get one free. You go, you try it, you like it, yeah. And then every time we run these things, you buy enough to get you through. You never have to pay full price. It's like getting a Ferrari at a Kia price. DMLCBD.com/BOGO. Get in there before everything else is gone. I posted a video this morning on Facebook. I usually don't do that. I usually, just this way for people don't know, we have started this new strategy here. And Ryan is always working at my side. It's more bosom buddies every minute of the day. And Denny's doing his part. And of course, Ashley's doing hers. But one of our strategies here is people love to have the videos all day long. And so we are constantly making videos and putting them up. And the new DML News app is going to reflect all that. It's really an exciting time to be here and obviously to be with you. Now, with that in mind, every morning, with the exception of when I do this podcast, I typically go upstairs. And after I'm done with my meditation and breathing, I make a little video. Whatever's on my mind, the news of that day. And, I come at it and I hold nothing back, usually 2-3 minutes at most. This morning, I usually wasn't going to do one because we do the show, but I said, no, I have to. I have to put this out. I got to say this. And I'm going to repeat it again here. And by the way, I ask you to always share those videos when you see them. Like them, comment, just so this way the algorithm says, oh, this is a good one. But what I talked about this morning was the Nobel Peace Prize. The Nobel Peace Prizes are being handed out this week. And I want to remind everybody of something. I think these prizes, they really are meaningless. They don't change anything. They don't make things better. They don't make things worse. It's the same thing as the Oscars. The Oscars, every year, they have their own little party to tell each other how great they are. And at the end of the day, you get a little bit of fanfare for the day or after that you won this award, and then it goes on. I mean, I won Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, which is probably the most prestigious business award. It's the Oscars for business, if you will. But, it felt great getting your name called. You go up there, whatever it may be, and, you get your prize and you get to tout it. And it's a nice little thing you could put on your resume. And, it's not a bad thing, but it's meaningless ultimately in the big stage. There was one prize, though, that I think has meaning to it, and that is the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, the reason why it has meaning to it is because the whole world is involved, unlike the Oscars and, the Entrepreneur of the Year thing. I mean, basically, that's always Americans, right? Periodically, the Oscars will go off and give somebody from Zimbabwe an Oscar, and you're like, what movie was that? But other than that, you know what I'm talking about. And in 2009, Barack Obama was given the Nobel Peace Prize just 9 months after taking office. And he had done nothing. His Nobel Peace Prize was, I think it was scripted as something as bringing people together. What? Now, even when Obama got the prize, he himself said, I was shocked. Now, of course, he didn't give back the prize. He didn't say, hey, there's got to be somebody in the world who deserves it better than me. Keep it, give it to somebody else. He didn't do that. He took it because that's what Democrats do. They take things that really aren't rightfully theirs. Okay? He got the Nobel Peace Prize for the color of his skin and because he has a D after his name for Democrat. They take the prizes all the time, people, even when they don't. I mean, look, just as a side note, I'm hearing myself speak. You've got the New York Times that's still holding on to its Pulitzer Prize for all the writing and all the investigative reporting it did on the Russia hoax. But regardless, Barack Obama received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2009 for doing absolutely nothing. Nothing. All right, DML. There really wasn't anybody that year that, you could say deserved it. And so they gave it to Barack Obama as, good tidings. See, when you do that, it dilutes the brand. It dilutes the meaning. And so I come back. If the Nobel Peace Prize really, truly wants to say to the world, this prize is meaningful because all other leaders around the world should take a look at who we handed this to, and you should say, I want to do the same thing. I want that prize next year. What can I do as a leader to play my part in getting that award, to making the world a better place? That is the meaning of an award. It's not, hey, you're famous, hey, you're this. The meaning of an award should be the trickle down. Hey, Aaron Judge just got the MVP award for Major League Baseball. Why? Well, he hit all those home runs. But how does he do that? Well, look at him. He goes to the gym every single day, even on the off season, for 6 hours a day. Ooh, I'm a rookie baseball player. That's what I have to do? Let me go for 9 hours a day. Right? When I won Entrepreneur of the Year, I would have other entrepreneurs say to me, how did you win that? Well, no, I didn't take anybody out to dinner, and I didn't take anybody to, from Ernst & Young. I wasn't, cozy up with them. I worked my ass off. I showed big numbers. I showed growth. I redefined an industry. And then you explain that. And then all of a sudden, these other entrepreneurs are listening to you. All right. If the Nobel Peace Prize wants to make a splash, if it really wants to stand for peace, it must, and I mean must, give the prize to Donald J. Trump. Not because I'm a Trumper, not because I voted for the guy 3 times, not because America is being made great again, but because he just brought together Hamas and Israel. And as of this morning, the first stage of a peace deal has been signed. Now, let me tell you something. If you spent any time last night online in news feeds or watched anything on television, especially from the mainstream media, what you heard was, yeah, without Trump, this wouldn't have gotten done. Yeah, a win for President Trump. ABC News, NBC News, MSNBC, they're all, you can't ignore this. It's like trying to say that the sun doesn't rise from the east. Everybody is astonished that Trump was able to get this done, at least the first phase of this done. And you know, and I know, in many cases, the hardest phase is the first phase. It's just like a diet, right? What's the hardest part of a diet? The first day, the first week. You're an alcoholic, you decide to stop drinking. What's the hardest day? The first day. This is the hard stage, getting the people together, getting people who historically have hated each other. And I won't say the Jews hate everybody else, but they've been given no choice. 2 years ago, we saw Hamas obliterate children, women, innocent people for no reason. 2 years later, Donald Trump is bringing people together. There have been hostages held by Hamas. These people have been tortured. They've been raped. They've been killed in many cases. These hostages are coming home, whether dead or alive. And that means something, because even if you sit there and you say to me, oh, well, great, yeah, they're getting hostages who are dead. Yeah, a little late, eh? Well, you know what? If you've ever dealt with somebody who has had their family member killed or died, they want the remains. I remember working with this in 9/11. I remember working with all the different firemen and police officers and first responders who died, even the people who were in the buildings who died, the family members. It brings a sense of closure. It brings a sense of that person coming home. So yes, it is important. But if all things go as planned, and they look as if they will, the hostages should be home on Monday. Ryan's got a video. This is Howard Lutnick with the families of the hostages. They're speaking with President Trump via cell phone, for those of you who are listening and not watching. Here is the conversation between them, celebrating the fact that this is getting done. Play the video.
They want to say something. Is that right? All right, hold on. President Trump, you have the best crowd in the world. What do you guys have to say to President Trump?
Thank you. You did it.
Wow. You did it. Wow. Thank you.
This is amazing. Mr. President, we believe in you. We know you've done so much for us over the past, since you became a president, and even before that. And we trust you fulfill the mission until every hostage, every 48 of the hostages are home. Thank you so much. Blessed be the peacemakers.
God bless you, Mr. President. God bless America.
Thank you very much. You just take care of yourselves. The hostages will come back. They're all coming back on Monday.
So, you know, a lot of times you look at these videos, and please, I'm just going to remind you one more time to hit the share button if you haven't hit it already. A lot of the times you watch videos like that, and it's somebody else. You know, it always happens to somebody else. But in this particular case, I mean, you look at those people. Think about for 2 years. Think about how long 2 years is. Think about the fact that you've had to wait 2 years, not knowing the status of your loved one. These people on Monday, when they are reunited with their family members, and whether those family members are alive or dead, it's going to be a very emotional, hearty day. And President Trump, with all the things that he has going on right now in this country and around the world, he is a really good leader. The fact that he can bring people like that comfort and love. And that's why he is deserving of the Nobel Peace Prize. And that's why it is that it's important that he gets it, because it sends a message around the world. Emulate this man. Emulate him. And it's so frustrating when you hear how it is that the left always want to spin him into such a horrible human being. It is astonishing how it is that they try to spin him into something that he is not. And it just doesn't stick. I mean, it just does not stick. In fact, I'm going to change the videos back to the way I had it, Ryan. Let's go to the girl at the White House next. I'll give you an example of this. Yesterday, President Trump had a celebration, if you will, because that's what it was. It was a celebration that the White House is actually calling Antifa what it is. It's a terrorist group. Antifa is nothing shy of a terrorist group. It is every single mentally deranged liberal you could imagine being part of a organized effort to bring chaos to the streets, to disrupt the government, to upend the way things are here in America. And they hurt people and they destroy things. And so President Trump had a roundtable about Antifa. And the first part of the roundtable, probably about the first 20, 25 minutes, was Trump explaining Antifa. And then, of course, Kash Patel and Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi and a few others all celebrating the White House and how great they're doing and blah, 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 blah. Typical political stuff that you would expect. But they had invited young journalists, the independent kind, that are in the streets and trying to cover what other people aren't. And, I have a deep appreciation for this because, I'm the age there, those journalists were probably mid-20s, maybe a few early 30s. I got into doing that sort of thing when I was in my late 30s. And I remember during the Obama presidency and when I was with Fox, all the times that I went to Washington, D.C. and was covering things that other people weren't covering, capturing the real story versus what it is that the mainstream media wanted. And unfortunately, I didn't have a president like President Trump who said, hey, why don't you come to the White House? I want to celebrate how much danger you're putting yourself into and how much your work means to the American people because they're getting to see the truth. No, I had just the opposite. But when I see these journalists be invited to the White House and they can express their concerns and their appreciations, I just say to myself, wow, what a great president this guy is. What a brilliant move to bring the people in. Now, all the youngsters that were on that panel, there was one that surprised me. I think it surprised everybody. This is a young woman. I can't remember her name. It doesn't matter. She has been a reporter in Portland for the past 10 years. And she admits that for the past 8 years, she has had Trump derangement syndrome. She's sitting right across. So just imagine a banquet table in a big rectangle. And you've got members of the press that are filming the whole thing. You got Trump and you got members of his cabinet. And then you've got, it's lined up with all these independent people and independent journalists. And the one girl is sitting right across, the girl that you're about to see is sitting right across from the president. And she explains that she has had Trump derangement syndrome, but that it's gone. Ryan, play this girl, and then we'll go a little deeper into it.
I'm going to tell it to you anyway, because it's relevant to what we're talking about. I'm living proof that you can recover from TDS. I had strong Trump derangement syndrome for probably 8 years. This is one of the reasons I recovered from it. And by the way, it's much better to not have TDS. I'm happier, I'm healthier. more successful. I even think I got a little more attractive after I got rid of my Trump derangement syndrome. Yes.
So one of the things that she was explaining was that she kept on buying into the mainstream media's narrative about Trump being such a terrible guy. Such a terrible guy. He's so horrible. He's Hitler. He's a Nazi. He's a misogynist. He's a racist. I mean, you've heard it, right? They beat that drum over and over and over and over and over again. And so she fell for it. She fell for it until she started going out in the streets and covering things as a reporter and started to see the Antifa for what it was. And she was like, these people are horrible. And yet when she went to go back and give those reports, she got resistance from her own team. When she was looking at other people's reports and they didn't match the reports to which she was seeing in the field, and I know what she's talking about. That's why I dove into immigration all those years ago. You read and you see, and you're like, wait, that's not really what's happening. You're lying. And then she said to herself, if the media is lying about the news that I'm seeing with my own two eyes, could they also be lying about Trump? And she said what she started to do was took a little bit of time. She wiped away all the noise of the mainstream media, wiped away all the mirages that were put in front of her, and really looked at Trump for what he was doing and for who he was as a president. Not as a playboy 30 years ago when he had a different girl on his arm every week. What is he like as a president, and what is really the truth? And that's where she came to be. You know what? This is crazy. I have a disease called TDS, and I got to get rid of that. This is nothing like I've ever seen in my life before. You've got a man who's bringing peace to the Middle East, or at least damn trying while he's doing all the other different things, calling out Antifa for what it is, going into the streets of cities that have been destroyed by the left, been destroyed by drugs and crime. And he says, hey, I'm in my late 70s. I'm in the last chapters here. I don't know how long I got, but I'm going to make sure that my legacy and my impact here in the United States of America, I'm going to leave this place better than what I got it. And I got to tell you, when I got it, and I got to tell you something, I'm going to keep all my promises to the American people. This man is doing such a great job. And let me tell you why he's doing a great job in part. I have forever said that we need a businessman as the president of the United States. Now, there's a couple of reasons why you need a businessman. First of all, when you are in business, you recognize right away that if you're not taking in more than you're spending, you're going to go out of business. There is no business in the world who can sustain what it is that the U.S. government does with our money and how it squanders it and it just prints it. You would be out of business. The second thing is you realize is when you've got projects and when you've got goals, if you just keep kicking the can down the road, it's going to blow up in your face. You've got to have a plan. If the city of New York is trying to make an ice rink, and after years and hundreds of millions of dollars they can't do it, and that you go in and in 4 months and a couple of $1 million you could do it, why could you do it and the government can't? Well, first, because the government can never get anything done right. There's all the red tape. They put all the people in positions that they have no qualifications to be in, usually do it just by who they are from a gender or a sex or a political position. But you get a guy like Trump comes in and says, I want to fix this. I'm determined. I know how to do it. What does he do? He makes a budget. He looks at all the things that need to be done. And then he assigns, and this is the most important part here. He assigns capable and able people who want to get things done in the same vision as he does, whether it is an ice skating rink in New York City, or whether it is peace in the Middle East, or whether it is drilling for oil, or whether it is stopping the illegal aliens coming over the border. He aligns himself with people who are able and capable and have that same vision. This is what Trump has done 2.0 versus 1.0. Think about where we were in Trump 1.0 back in 2017. 9 months in, it was a bit of a poop show, if you will. We had this one coming in and out. We had that. I mean, firing here, firing there, people all over the place. It was like a revolving door at that White House. I mean, Scaramucci, 16 days, then he's out. Omarosa, where did she go? Kelly, he started off as the greatest, then he turned off the worst. I mean, it just, remember all the people? You're not seeing that this time. You're not seeing that this time. Because what he figured out in 2.0 versus 1.0, he's like, hey, I went into that presidency thinking I needed to do things from a political alliance. Oh, let me get, Rice Priebus because he's got all the contacts. Oh, let me get this one because he says nice things about me on Fox News. No, he figured it out. He needed to get people who were rooted in the same sort of mental status he is embedded in. Make America great again. No way I'm going off that line. And if you don't want to be on that line with me, if you don't want to be on my coattails going straight ahead, if you're going to go a little rear to the right or a little rear to the left, I am going to rid of you. That's one of the reasons why he tweets out, hey, Pam Bondi, we need to start seeing some arrests being made. Because, hey, Pam, are you going off? Are you not on line with me? And boom, she's right back in line. The reason why Trump is getting things done so incredibly fast and so incredibly well is because he's built himself a team that is on board and who is capable of carrying things out. Do I like every single one of them? No. Do I think every single one of them is worthy of being the president one day? No. But are they executing per the president's lineup and blueprint and demands for making America great again? Absolutely. No better example than Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem wanted to be the vice president. There's no doubt in my mind. And then the stuff with her husband came up, and then maybe some infidelity rumors came up, whatever. And Trump said, and then it came with the whole thing where she shot the dog in the backyard. And Trump's like, all right, this isn't going to work. Well, but Kristi, don't worry. I'm going to put you in my administration because I saw what you did in your state as governor. And I want you to take that same get it done, no holds barred attitude. And I want you to help me clean up the border. Okay, Mr. President, I'm there. What Kristi Noem is doing with ICE and illegal immigration is sensational. She's out on the streets. I remember, I'm not banging on anybody here, but it's going to come off it this way. Megyn Kelly, I keep on saying it. I don't understand how it is that she's so high up in the rankings simply because I know her and I listen to some of the things she says and the little clips that fly by my desk. And I'm like, why are you saying that? She literally slammed Kristi Noem for being in photographs with members of ICE. And she said, nobody wants to see you and your pimped up hair and all your makeup. And I was like, whoa, boy, is that the kettle calling the pot black? I mean, or did I do that the wrong way? But you know what I mean. I'm like, wow, that's sort of, hypocrisy at its best. I mean, I come in here, do my show. I barely even comb my hair. She sits there. I mean, Megan's got makeup going on for 3 hours before she does a podcast. I want to see Kristi Noem. I want to see her. I think her image out on the streets with ICE is one of the most powerful messages there are. If you've been following me for years, then you know that I have said constantly prior to Trump 2.0, if I were the president, how many times have you heard me hear, how many times have you heard that sentence come out? If I was the president, I would blah, 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 blah. One of the things that I've said most often is if I am the president of the United States, here's what I'm doing. I'm taking the person who's in head of the DHS and ICE, and I'm saying, both of you, I want you to go out and take cameras. I want you to take the press, and I want you to go do raids. I want everybody to see what we're doing because A, they won't be able to question where we stand on this issue. They won't say we're a flip-flopper. B, it will send a very hard message to the people around the world. Do not come to the United States illegally. It will send a message to the people who are here. You better go home. And it's going to send a message to the people who are aiding, abetting, and harboring illegal aliens. Hey, man, your time is coming. And that's what's happening. And to make it even better, if you ask me, who do I want to see the borders are, or I want to see the Department of Homeland Security, I want to see the Homeland Security. And then when I see that it's a woman, and an attractive woman at that, who could be sitting home at the country club right now playing tennis and, sleeping with the tennis pro if she wanted to, she could have any guy she wants, Christy Noam. You know what guy she wants? She wants the guy from El Salvador. She wants the guy from Mexico. She wants the guy from Guatemala to be sent home. She wants the streets cleaned. She wants America to be great again. I think her being in every shot is the greatest thing that we can do, and that's why we're seeing an impact. And let me tell you, what they're up against in the streets, trying to carry out immigration law, this isn't easy. You don't got people sitting there and saying, hey, let me show you where the illegals are. No, you're going into these blue cities and you're being treated like trash. Ryan, get up the video of Inside Chicago. It's the daytime one. You got that ready? Okay. We're going to show you a video here. It takes 45 seconds. I'll take a little break here, give my voice a break. Watch this video. Watch this video. Now, for the people who are only listening to this, let me set this up for you. There is a ICE agent. He is in his Border Patrol ICE garb. There's no question who he is. Trying to make an arrest in the middle of the street of Chicago of an illegal alien. And all he gets are the other cars beeping at him and all the other people, they're coming at him. This man is trying to arrest somebody who is here illegally, could be wanted for rape, murder, child molestation, who knows what? Who knows what this piece of garbage is going to do the next day? We just heard Kash Patel say that in Chicago, there are tens of thousands of gang members in just Chicago alone. I think he actually said there was 110,000, which sounds like crazy to me. But the numbers are huge. This man is in the middle of the street trying to make an arrest. And not only is he fighting with the man, he's got to fight with the other people. Play it.
Hey! No!
I mean, can you imagine this? This is how demented the Democrat brain is. You can't make it up. This is why I am demanding on this very day. Let me start it this way. If I were the president of the United States, the first thing I would do is write an executive order that every single time a Democrat passes on to the next world, we need to do an autopsy on them because we need to find out what is triggering the Democrat brain to be losing its brain cells, that the Democrat does not know how to play 52 cards in a deck. Instead, they're playing with 20. Something's happened. Something has happened. You know, there was an article the other day, and it matches everything I've always been saying to my kids. We have, this is a little bit on a tangent here, so forgive me, but if you're new to me, I do this periodically, but it's always interesting. You'll always learn something. There is an incredible increase in the amount of cancer in young people. especially colon cancer. And people are like, oh my God, what's going on here? Seriously? I didn't spend 8 years in medical school, but I can tell you what it is. It's not very hard, is it? Look at the way that food was made when we were younger, and look at the way food is made today. They have added so many additives, crap, garbage. Everything comes out of a plastic bag. If you're eating something out of a plastic bag, you're not eating food. You're eating soft plastic as far as I'm concerned. You're eating toxins. If you're not picking it off a tree, picking it off the ground, getting it out of the sea, or getting it off a farm, it's not good. And so the big, huge study done. And you know what they found out? It's the food. That's what they're blaming on. It's the food. Yeah. These kids are putting poison into their body earlier on. And that's why they're getting, that's why they're getting sick. We need to figure out, in the same way that we're figuring out why people now are suddenly getting cancer at a younger age, why are Democrats becoming so freaking nutty? They weren't like this in the days of JFK. They weren't even like this when I was young. I remember when I was coaching Ryan's football team, right? So Ryan was probably, 10 years old? He's 25 now. 15 years ago. Right before Obama came in. I'd say it was right towards the latter part of Bush. And there was a grandfather. Guy loved me because I had his kid all the time, under my thumb, trying to make sure he was learning the game of football. He started off not being all that great. He left after I coached him for 2 years as being phenomenal. And the grandfather just thought the world of me. And so a lot of time, and I liked him. And he was worldly, and he was a phenomenally huge lawyer in Manhattan, had all the big clients. So I loved hearing his stories. And about 4 or 5 times that we went and had lunch, or we would go to the beach or whatever it may be, and just building a friendship, he revealed to me that he was a Democrat. And I said to him, Democrat? I said, oh my God. I said, Peter, you're ruining it for me. And we laughed about it. And he said to me, he says, Dennis, you're a Democrat, but you don't even know it. I said, oh, really? How so? And we went down the whole thing, and it was just a way of poking fun at each other. But the thing is that we actually had conversations to where we both found common ground on some things. You try sitting down. I couldn't sit with Peter today because there's no way that Peter is the same guy he was 16 years ago. There's just no way. It's impossible because I have not found a single Democrat anywhere, nowhere. I swear to God to you, I don't know a single Democrat that has any level of common sense anymore. When was the last time you heard a Democrat criticize Antifa, criticize the governor of Illinois for allowing illegal aliens to run around and kill people in his state, and then tell Trump, you're going to have to go through me if you want to get the illegal aliens? What is wrong with you? Gavin Newsom, no different. Gavin Newsom sits here, wants to run for president, just going to bang on Trump like he's the devil, and yet Gavin Newsom is allowing illegal aliens to use California as their own breeding ground. We just did a report on Facebook here during the middle of the week between shows. An illegal alien who has been coming in and out of this country for more than 10 years just wound up being in a DUI. He's already been arrested countless times for cocaine possessions and things of that kind of measure. He just killed 6 people in a DUI in California. As far as I'm concerned, Gavin Newsom should be held as a co-conspirator. I talk about this all the time. So yes, we need autopsies done on these Democrats to see, in the same way that youngsters are freaking poisoning themselves and getting cancer because of the food, what is driving the Democrat brain. And don't tell me it's food, because it's only happening to the Democrats. You are not going into Republican or conservative cities and seeing the same sort of things that you're seeing the Democrats carry out. You're just not. So it can't be the food. We got to do what's the common denominator? And here's the thing. There are none. The Democrat Party, driven by the Democrat freaking propagandists known as the media, are in this freaking, it's almost like they're in a dry cycle where they're in a dryer and they keep tossing and they don't have anything coming. They're all locked in and the heat is there and there's nothing else penetrating that but the heat of the Democrat breath that comes out and says all the craziest things in the world. And they come out and when you open up the dryer, they're freaking spun crazy. I'll give you another example. I bring you to Portland. Get this ready, Ryan. This just happened last night or the night before. Think about what it takes for somebody to say on a weeknight, I am going to go and stand in front of an ICE agency, a facility, and I am going to protest, not with a sign that says, these people just want a better life. Not with a sign that says, my mother came here, she's not illegal. I mean, I get all those stories that they do. And, sometimes your heart bleeds a little bit. And he says, I understand your mother wanted to come here just to make beds, to make a little bit of a better life. She had horrible in Mexico. I get it. But she's still here illegally and it doesn't make any difference. But, I could feel a little bit for that. I've listened to speeches before given by these illegal alien children who were brought here, and as kids that were 1 year old, 2 years old, they don't know any better, that they know the United States is their home. I get it. I feel for them. They've made their friends here. I feel for them. But I also feel for the little kid whose father just got busted selling cocaine and is going to go to jail for 3 years. I feel for the little kid because that little kid didn't want to be involved in that, but his parent did what the parent did. And we send that parent to jail and that kid will go into a foster home. And so the same thing happens. If your parents are here illegally, I can't let my heartstrings supersede the law. But imagine that you are going outside the ICE facility at nighttime and your whole goal is to get in the face of an ICE agent who is doing nothing other than carrying out the laws of the United States of America. He or she did not make these laws. If you don't like these laws, start doing what you need to do to run for office or to get the people who you need in office to be in office. That's the way you do it. You don't go and freaking attack the person who's carrying out the law, which, by the way, is designed to keep you safe, to keep your job from being stolen. You don't do that unless you are mentally demented. Then, when you carry it out to the next level, think about how absolutely out of your mind you've got to be to stand there and go against a stranger who has done nothing other than just put on an ICE uniform and spit in that person's face. That's this video right here. Play it, Ryan.
Get out of our state! Get out of here, bitch! Get out of our state! Guys, stop.
It's beyond sad. And the only way to stop this, and I've said it every show, and I'm going to say it every show until it gets stopped, and we're going to move on to the shutdown. The only way to stop this is that Trump has got to step up his level of enforcement. He has got to empower, and the rules are already there. The laws are already there. He has to empower his federal government to make arrests of the governor of Illinois, the mayor of Chicago, the governor of California. He has to arrest them for aiding and abetting and harboring illegal aliens. He has to get them paying for interrupting with federal law, with federal operations. In that first video I showed you, you are not allowed to put your hands on a federal agent or a cop or anybody of that nature. These people are getting away. What you didn't see in that first video is that eventually that agent has no choice but to drive away because the mob of people are now putting him in harm's way. And after a while, he's got to say to himself, wait, I'm willing to fight for my country, but this is not the hill I want to die on today. It's all out of control. Until we start holding these people severely responsible for their actions, they're going to continue. There is a difference between the First Amendment, assembly and protesting and freedom of speech, and interfering with the operations of the federal government for trying to carry out keeping America safe. We're allowing this to go on too long. Way too long. But I'm sure Trump has a strategy. Maybe he's just allowing the Democrats to continue to look a little bit more foolish every day, although I don't think we need that. I think we already know how this movie plays. But now we need to see the next part. We need to see, James Comey was arraigned yesterday. There are many different legal experts who don't believe that this is really going to go very far. They think it's going to get thrown out. They don't think that there's enough evidence and that it's not good enough case, but it doesn't matter. James Comey is going to have to pay for a lawyer. He's going to have his life interrupted, and it's going to send a message. Maybe this guy gets off this time, but maybe you won't get off the next time. So think twice before you try doing something like James Comey. We need more arrests, big time. Now, moving on to the Democrats and Schumer's shutdown of the U.S. government, interrupting everything that they, the thing about Democrats, and the thing about the Democrats right now, and we played this on the show last week, they all unify, but they never, ever have, other than abortion, other than let's kill all the babies, they don't have a message that stays true, right? If I were to play for you the State of the Union of Bill Clinton talking about illegal immigration, you'd swear to God that it was an AI voice, but it's not. We just played a video the other day, Ryan did, of Nancy Pelosi in 2005, talking about how open borders are not permitted. This is ridiculous. We need to protect the sovereignty of the United States. What happened to her? Hillary Clinton, the same thing. Chuck Schumer, the same thing. They never, ever, ever have a message, and that's why their policies all fail. I defy you to take me into one blue city and show me success. You will never, ever be able to do it. And I don't mean take me on that 2-block tour. I'm saying let's go out through the whole city. You will not find a single success story. And I think the same holds true for states. Look at the 3 biggest states in terms of when you think about Democrats. I would arguably say California, Illinois, and New York. The 3 of them are drowning in debt. The 3 of them are drowning in crime. The 3 of them are drowning in people who are... it's the President of the United States. They are drowning with people who have no right to be there or who are there now and trying to upend everything that once made that city great. On October 7, we just talked about this the other day. On October 7, they were lining out in front of Fox News, pro-Hamas, pro-terrorists in the streets. Now they want the government shut down. I'm going to read a couple things to you here. This is from Caroline Leavitt, Press secretary. While federal workers stress over missed paychecks, military families turn to food pantries, and airports around the country face delays, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are bragging that every day gets better for them. What a disgusting and revealing statement. Democrats are gleeful about inflicting pain on the American people. Now, the crazy thing is if you go to the left, they are going to tell you that things are looking fantastic for the Democrats. This is from the Hill. We're in day nine. On the shortest of estimates, Americans are losing $400 million a day. That's on the shortest of estimates. As the shutdown fight stretches into its second week, the winds have shifted in favor of the Democrats, at least for the moment. Remember, this is from The Hill, entitled Democrats Win Momentum Over GOP in Shutdown Fight. And this is why you have demented people, because they buy into this. As the shutdown fight stretches into its second week, the winds have shifted in favor of the Democrats, at least for the moment. Early polls say voters are more likely to blame President Trump and the Republicans for the lengthy impasse. The president and his congressional allies are publicly at odds over compensation for furloughed workers. Speaker Mike Johnson is sending a mixed message on whether to protect military pay, and prominent cracks are emerging in the GOP's resistance to extending Obamacare subsidies. The combination has put Republican leaders on the defensive, even as they're faulting Democrats for the long impasse. And the developments have boosted the Democrats' confidence that they'll be able to maintain their unified front, both in opposing the GOP's short-term spending bill and demanding an extension of Obamacare tax credits, which remains the issue at the center of the deadlock. They never mention here about giving illegal aliens health care, but that's okay. Democrats have been consistent. Our position remains the same. We've been saying it for months, says Chuck Schumer. Republicans are shutting down the government because they refuse to address the crisis in American health care. Really, the crisis in American health care? Let me ask you a question. I don't know if you could think back this far. I know I can. Because the pain has been so horrible for me. Do you remember what it was like before Obamacare? I do. I remember it hugely. We had a family plan that cost about $550 a month before Obamacare. And I can tell you, I was bitching and moaning back then. A family plan, $550, maybe $600 a month. And I had no restrictions, really. I didn't have anybody telling me, oh, we don't take this, oh, we don't take that. Yeah, you've always had that kind of crap in the insurance industry. The insurance industry never wants to pay for anything, right? Whether it's your car, your home, your health, whatever. But it worked. Then Obamacare came in. And then I was forced for paying for things that I would never wind up using. I can't have a baby. My wife can't have babies anymore. You are forced to pay for things. And that's when the wheels came off. Obamacare has been an absolute disaster for people. I have gone from paying $550 a month to now $3,300 per month, and I have less people on the plan. Back when I talked about the $550, I had 5 of us, 6 of us. Kelly was born, 6 of us on a plan. Now, my 3 oldest children are older, and so now there's 3 of us on the plan. And I'm paying $3,300 a month, and the Democrats are going to sit here and blame the Republicans? The only thing I blame the Republicans for is not finding a replacement for Obamacare. And don't blame Trump on that. One of the first things Trump wanted to do in Trump 1.0 was he wanted to rid of Obamacare and start the process of putting something else in place. And it was the freaking rhino, John McCain, who stopped it from moving forward. That's what I blame the Republicans for. Hakeem the Sombrero, when you put a guy like him who basically does nothing but check a box, when you put him in charge because he checks boxes, you're going to get back nothing. When you put an airhead in charge of something, you're going to get back air. We're going to play you. You may have seen this already because it's gone viral. This happened yesterday. Hakeem Jeffries, who is the minority leader of the House, is confronted by a Republican lawmaker from the same state. I think his last name is Lawler or something of this in that nature. This lasted for 4 minutes. We're going to give you 2 minutes of it. I should have just played the whole 4 minutes because it makes Hakeem Jeffries appear unhinged, uneducated, and incapable of making an argument. But if I had to give somebody a 2-minute video to show how incapable he and the Democrats are, this is the video I would play. Ryan, hit it.
Did you get permission from your boss?
Why don't we sign on right now?
Did your boss, Donald Trump?
You can easily extend the ACA right now.
Did your boss, Donald Trump,
give you permission? Yes,
he is.
No, he's not. And by the way,
so let me ask you a
why
question.
did you vote to shut the government down? Why did you vote to shut it down?
Let me ask you a question.
For years, you always lectured about how we need to keep the government open.
You're making a show of this to make yourself relevant.
It's sad. You could easily sign on to this.
You're embarrassing yourself right now.
You could sign on to this. The only embarrassment here is you.
You're an embarrassment.
You could sign on to the bill.
Let me ask you a question.
You have 4 Democrats on here. Why won't you sign on?
Let me ask you a question.
It's a clean extension for 1 year.
You voted for the one big ugly bill, correct?
I voted for a tax cut bill that gave the largest tax cut to Americans in history, including, by the way, the average New Yorker getting a $4,000 tax cut. Are you against that?
You're embarrassing yourself right now.
You want to cut the standard deduction in half?
The largest cut to Medicaid in American history. You voted for that.
Fraud, and abuse, by the way.
You voted
Tom DiNapoli, the Democratic controller of New York,
let me ask you a question.
Pointed out that $1.2 billion were wasted.
Listen, you're not going to talk to me. You're not going to talk to me and talk over
non-New
me
York residents
because you don't want to hear what I have to say.
Oh, I'm listening.
So why don't you just keep your mouth shut?
Oh,
because you showed up.
Is that the way to talk?
You showed up.
Yeah.
And so you voted for this one big ugly bill.
I signed on for this. You can extend it right now.
A permanent extension of massive tax breaks for your billionaire donors.
So 90% of Americans.
So they can get a permanent extension.
90% of Americans take the standard deduction.
Is that right?
90% of Americans take the standard deduction.
Is that right?
If you had your way, the standard deduction would have been cut in half. That would have been a massive tax increase on Americans all across the country.
You're
you support
here,
that?
Unfortunately.
You're against lifting the cap on salt.
Your billionaire donors.
The billionaire donors lifting the cap on salt. We put a income cap in place.
Why are you here right now?
Didn't you want all Republicans to be here? I'm here.
Where are the rest of your Republican
You wanted Republicans to be here. I'm here.
Why are you here?
And by the way, you can pass an ACA extension right now. Sign on to this bill.
Did your boss
sign on to the bill?
Is your boss?
So there you could see right there. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries offers nothing in the argument, nothing but rudeness, nothing but unhinged behavior. He tells the guy, shut up, don't get in my face. You're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment. I didn't find him to be embarrassing at all. I found him making an argument that says, why are you keeping the government shut? There's only one reason why the Democrats are keeping this government closed, shut down. They think it's going to buy them some political wins, and they keep losing all the time. They need something. And that's why you get the radicals over at the Hill putting out these false headlines that the Democrats are picking up steam. Now, I didn't have enough time to look at it until I got here onto the program, but Marjorie Taylor Greene has been sort of acting a little unhinged herself lately. It's a little hard to understand where she's coming from some days. And apparently she is starting to sort of favor a little bit in what some of the things the Democrats are saying. I can't comment on it enough because I got to look into it a little bit more. But let me tell you this, and this is not pointed just towards Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's pointed towards every Republican. We have all the momentum right now. We've got all the victories. We've got the ability to showcase what we have done so far, and it has been incredible. You do not leave the bunker. You do not turn your back on what is working. If you do, you will be primaried and you will lose. I myself vow to do whatever I need to do on my end to make sure that if you do not support the general Make America Great Again blueprint that is being put forward by this administration, we don't want you. And if the only thing you're doing is posting on social media to try to build yourself a profile, so this way you go get yourself a television show when you leave Congress, let's get you gone now. We've got things that are happening right now in the United States that are so great, nobody's talking about them. Let me give you one right here. This is today. The United States produced a record high 13.6 million barrels of crude oil per day in July, up from 13.5 million barrels per day in June. U.S. crude oil production in July was higher than previously estimated, prompting the agency to raise the starting point of its forecast for the remainder of 2025 and 2026. The agency now projects U.S. crude oil production will average 13.5 million barrels per day in both 2025 and 2026. For the remainder of 2025, this represents an increase from the agency's August forecast. What did Trump tell you? What did Trump do? 1.0. We were energy dependent. He said, no, we've got our own energy here in the United States. We are going to drill, baby, drill. We became energy independent only for freaking Biden to come in and destroy all of it. And now Trump brings it back. That you've got a businessman that understands how to run the business. Nobody's talking about this today. You should be. We should all be. Trump told us he was going to make America great again. And making America great again is just not that of a design on a hat. It incorporates everything. Come on, folks. I've been with you now for 20 years talking about the border being open. You haven't heard me talk about open borders in months because they're closed. Now you hear me talking about legal immigration and the dangers of that because it's far more dangerous than illegal immigration. Everybody's been blowing it off but me. But if you think about it, Trump has eliminated one of the topics that we could sit here and talk about for days on end. I could show you all these crazy videos of the people coming across, piss you off. I don't have them anymore. They're not there. We fixed it. Here's another thing. Historically, every single freaking year, almost every year, August and September, you've got a stock market crash. We're not having that. Why is it October 8, October 9, October 10, October 11? Why is it that every day you look up, you see that the markets are doing better? Yeah, they go down a little bit, but they go back up. Why? Why didn't we have a massive crash in August and September? Because everybody's selling out. Because everybody knows that what Trump is putting into place is a winning solution. We are getting stronger. The U.S. dollar is getting stronger. People are seeing their 401ks go back up again. This is why the Democrats are trying to shut down. Because they want to kill the momentum that Trump has. We got now peace in the Middle East. What's next for this guy to be able to do? We're winning. And it's driving the Democrats crazy. If you've been with me, and if you were listening to the show every day before Mary wound up getting sick, you may recall back when we were in the studio, I said to you countless days in a row, the tariffs are a great thing. Now, you had all the other different conservative podcasters questioning it, tap dancing around it, or criticizing it heavily, just like they all did with bombing Iran. Not me. Because at the end of the day, like Trump, I am a businessman. I am first and foremost an award-winning businessman since 18 years old. You tell me, DML, I want to start a sausage truck business on the corner, get me in there. I'll get it up for you in 10 days flat, and it will be success. I'll hand it over to you. I can start any business, not because I'm the most brilliant guy in the world, but because, like Trump, I understand what it takes. There's a blueprint you follow, and I could do it with my eyes closed. He has applied that same thing to the United States of America. And that's why I said to you, the tariffs are going to be amazingly good for the U.S. It's going to be a little ugly before we get there. It's going to be choppy. It's going to be up and down. But by August, September, you will see this economy is based on a foundation that is all around Trump's economic plan, be it lower taxes, be it the tariffs, be it bringing energy back to the United States. And guess what? I am 150% correct. Totally correct. The Democrats don't know what to do. And this is why, this is the part of the show where I tell you, and we got a Nancy Pelosi, we got 2 clips from Nancy Pelosi. You want to hear these? This is why I tell you how imperative it is every day. Imperative that you share this program, that you share my videos, that you share my stuff. Not because it puts more money in my pocket. Folks, I got enough money in my pocket. I've done well because I've worked 7 days a week for the majority of my life. I do this, I'm back in this game because I love my country. I got to do my part like Charlie Kirk was trying to do his part to make it great again and to keep it that way. We all fell asleep at one level or another, just thinking that we could go to bed at night, wake our eyes up, and America was going to be there waiting for us in the morning. That's not what it is. This is not a spectator sport. We all need to get into the game. And I don't expect you to run for president. I don't expect you to be your governor. I don't even expect you to be the freaking the dog chaser in your city. If you want to just go out and live your life or live your retirement, enjoy your family and do whatever, and you say, but I know I got to give a little something back. If you're sharing, you're caring. If that's all you do, you're getting the message out every single time. These liberal, crazy social media platforms who absolutely hate Trump but pretend like they like him so this way they don't get sent in with a subpoena, when he's gone, if J.D. Vance isn't in there, let me tell you, all the evil will come back that once was, only tenfold. They're all on their best behavior right now simply because they are scared endlessly about Trump coming after them next, which he should. He should not turn a blind eye because they're being friendly. Look under the covers and see what these places are doing, because Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and X and YouTube, especially YouTube, these places, Apple, Amazon, because Amazon now is a communicator as well, Netflix, these places have become the new platforms. They become the new utility for getting the messages out, for the town halls. And if they are dictating it in a dishonest, censorship-driven way, we don't stand a chance. So their temporary pause in their craziness should not be missed for what it is. And therefore, that's why you need to share. In the old days, I would have 15,000 people on this show watching live. Now it's 300, 400, 500. They're giving us just enough to let us breathe, but not too much to escape out of their coffin, into their dungeon. You are the difference. They can't stop you from hitting the share button. They can't stop you from making a comment. They can't stop you from hitting like. That's how you make the difference in your country. And if you don't believe me and if you don't see it, well, then you need to wake up. You need to start doing what that liberal that I showed you earlier in. She was blinded thinking that everything was bad, bad, bad Trump. And then she said, wait, let me think about this maybe differently. If you don't think that you're making an impact by sharing because, well, I share it and nobody comments on it, and nobody doesn't matter. They're still looking at it. They're still looking at it. Think about it this way. If your sister Peggy or your cousin Bill is a freaking liberal, crazy liberal, you don't spend a lot of time with them. You can't. It's just impossible. But when your cousin or your sister or your brother calls up and says, guess what happened with Peggy and Bill? You jump up right away. Peggy and Bill are never going to tell you that they looked at the share, but they're going to say, what is it that she's sharing this time? And little by little by little by little, we bring the Democrats over, just like the girl in the video earlier today. It happens every day. I watch it happen every day. I have converted more liberals to being conservative than I think anybody else I know who has a microphone in front of their mouth. Because I'm not paid for, I'm not bought for, I'm not like any of these guys. You haven't heard me read you a commercial today, right? To buy something that I don't use, I'm not bought and paid for. hit that share button every single day. Now, with that being said, let's put out one more thing that everybody needs to know. There is a massive problem right now in Virginia, a massive problem. And we have the risk of the Attorney General being a man who fantasizes killing Republicans, their families, including their children. This person shouldn't be able to run for office of any kind, let alone the top cop, which basically is the AG of a state of Virginia. This guy should be in a mental hospital for his fantasies. And yet, right now, he's neck and neck. So if you live in Virginia, if you know anybody who lives in Virginia, if you've got a relative, a friend, or somebody you've done work with in the past, or if you even care about Virginia, you need to let people know what's going on. Nancy Pelosi was just on CNN. We got her, I think, for about a minute. Questioned about the horrible, terrible text messages of this man, Jay Jones, and how he wants to kill Republicans and their families. And Nancy she can't slam him. She can't do it. Play it.
There is a Democrat running for attorney general who's embroiled in a scandal over text messages in which he, the Democrat, said that the GOP Speaker of the House of Delegates should get 2 bullets to the head for how he paid tribute to a former moderate Democratic lawmaker who died. He has apologized. Should he get out of the race?
Well, that's up to the people, the leaders in Virginia. They have said he has apologized. What I understand is they say that on balance, he's a better person to be attorney general. But that's up to them. But I wish there would be enough fuss of all the times that people have said they were going to put a bullet in my head right in public, in the public domain.
I think it's because of that. That's one of the reasons I wanted to ask you that. You are somebody who knows all too well in a horrific way.
We have to get rid of that kind of language. I mean, it's just not appropriate.
I want you to remember something about Nancy Pelosi. Oh, I can't say anything about that. That's not my business. That's their business or whatever. This is the same woman who stood and sat behind President Trump in front of the entire world as he gave a State of a Union address and ripped up his speech for the entire world to see. The evilness out of this woman, but she can't say anything about these horrible text messages. All she can do is just say, I wish somebody was so angry about this when people called for me to be hit in the head. What are you talking about? When your husband was attacked by a freaking liberal lunatic, people like myself said, there's no place for that. There's no place for that. These people are evil. They are demonic, and they thrive off chaos. Whether that chaos comes financially, like with the government shutdown, or it comes in hurting people, like Charlie Kirk, or trying to kill the president, or disrupting the flow of normal society, like you're seeing in Portland and Chicago at ICE facilities. They are demonic, they are evil, and there's something wrong with them. Now, to add a little humor, there's a meme going around of that same thing I just showed you. It is hysterical. For people who are watching this on audio, listening on audio, I'm not even going to bother telling you what this is because you're going to miss it. But the people who are watching, here you go. You're going to laugh. Play it, Ryan.
Let's not stipulate to that. It's not a fancy
what do they have in it?
going into that. The point is,
they are voting yes on what we say here in Washington, a clean CR, a bill to keep the government running for 7 weeks, and Democrats are voting no.
It never gets old for me, man. It never gets old for me. I love it. It is the funniest thing in the world. For those people on audio, she's sitting in that same chair that she was at CNN, and she has a sombrero on, and she pulls out a bottle, and she starts drinking. She falls off her seat. And that's basically Nancy Pelosi in a nutshell. Here in front of me, I told you about this, and if you're new to the show or you haven't seen the other shows, I got this old ancient book. It's really cool. Denny bought it for me. My son Denny bought it for me for Christmas, and it's to journal things. And I've never really known what. Nothing came to me of what I want to journal. You know, what do I want to journal? And so I decided that I would journal about every show I do, and just to remind myself of what we talked about on the specific day. And anything in my mind that I thought I could have done better or what have you. And I always go back, just so this way you know how important you are to me. I go back every day. I'll do it tonight. I go for a walk and I listen back to the show just to see how things are going. How's Ryan doing with it? How's the tempo of the show going, et cetera, so forth. Did I stay too long on this, too short on that? Bah, 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 bah. How's the microphone sounding? Sometimes we have technical difficulties with the microphones, everything. And what I do is I go back and I read your comments, because what you say to me and what you're saying in the live feed, whether it's on Team DML or Rumble or on Facebook, it means a lot. I want to hear the feedback. Are you liking the show? Can we improve the show? What can we do to improve the show? Is there something else you want me to cover that we're not covering? We try to do a diversity of it today. You know, a lot of times I always fall back into that immigration stuff because it's my ballywick, and I always believe it's the number one problem in the country. So I always tend to make sure I hit it when other people are ignoring it. But, you know, tell me in these comments what you think. Not only that, about what you think with your feedback and your critique, but also about the topics that we're covering. What's your opinion on this? Because what I do is I take one of the opinions that I think represents what the show offered, and I write it down here, and I write your name, and then I read it on the next one. So yesterday, Monday's show, the comment came from a Betsy Liberty. I'm assuming that is not a real name, but if it is, what a great name. Betsy Liberty. She says, we should kill every cartel member. Not one deserves to live. And we were talking about how it is that the cartels are putting a bounty on the heads of ICE agents and how disgusting that is. And I think President Trump's next move has to be to address the cartels. I really do. You want Mexico to be a good neighbor? He's got to address the cartels. And that's that. A couple of things here before I get off. I saw a couple of you here in the live feed asking about Denny, my son Denny. My son Denny used to host the show with me. We are in such a mode to where we are building out everything. There's very few of us. And I know a lot of you applied for some of the openings that we are starting to, that we're going to put out in January. I have not got to them yet. So if you haven't been responded to, it's not because I blew you off or because I don't like you. It's just simply because I've put it into a bucket to read later. But Denny has been focused on our newsletters. It's a big part of our strategy going forward. We've been doing it for 9 months. We never miss a day. If you want to get our newsletter called the 47 Report, go to DML 360, DML360.com. Put your email address in there. We don't sell it. We don't share it. We don't monetize it. All we do is we send you a newsletter every single day consistently. We have not missed a single day of the Trump presidency so far. And we add other things like the DML report and the DML health report and things of that nature. So you want to go and you want to do that. That's what Denny is spearheading. Plus also the content. We are developing a brand new app that is going to be earth-shattering great. And so he is working on that. So we can't have him do this and at the same time do the things he's doing. So you just got to deal with me solo. That said, next week, Ryan's going to be like, we are? I warned you. Next week, we're going to turn it back from 2 days, or I should say push it forward, from 2 days to 3 days. We will have this program 3 days. I don't know the days just yet. It's either going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Thursday, Friday. I got to talk to Ryan. He may say Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll see what it is, but we're going to come back to 3 days here on Facebook, on Team DML, and on Rumble. We're also going to start to incorporate eventually YouTube, but we're taking it slow and we're doing it. The last thing you need to know is we have a book coming out. It has nothing to do with politics. It's the story of how it is that I repaired my gut after years, 150 tests, thinking cancer, all the worst things, how it is that a doctor helped me repair it all simply with food. No pills, no surgeries, 4 years of that crap, and simply with food. It's called the DML Diet for the Gut. We just did our final edit yesterday. It, on Monday, I believe, goes to the publishers for print, and we will let you know about that soon. If you sign up for the newsletter, you will not miss the announcement, because obviously Facebook doesn't always put you, and Rumble doesn't always put you in front of me. And therefore, Team DML members won't miss a thing. That's why you should always download the DML News app. You never miss a thing. But that's that. So those are my announcements. And until the next time, look for us today throughout the whole day on Facebook and on the DML News app, posting videos and posting content every single day. We do it 7 days a week. Great job today, Ryan, with all the clips. Thank you for being with us here. The other thing, too, is that next week when we go to 3 days, it will be 1 hour shows versus 90-minute shows. So there you go. All right. Until the next time, may God bless you, your family, President Trump, Vice President Vance, the people of Israel, for having to withstand the war against them. May God bless America. Thanks so much for being with me. We'll talk to you soon.
Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML.